ora koutou, hello and welcome to Shine today. It is great to be with you. Now I thought we'd begin with a verse which are God's words to the prophet Jeremiah. I knew you before I formed you in your mother's womb. Before you were born, I set you apart. Now that's at the heart of our conversation today with two women who are part of a ministry that's reaching out and welcoming in mums who are facing challenging pregnancies. Colleen, Barbara, welcome to Shine today. It is lovely to have you on the couch.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, so let's start. You're part of a team at Gianna's Choice, which is a part of the ministry of Gianna's House.
Yes.
Can you tell us about your different roles, maybe starting with you, Colleen?
Well, I founded the organisation 30 years ago, and we started off actually to educate people on life issues, but it became very apparent very quickly that we did need to reach out on practical terms to those mothers facing crisis pregnancies and to be there for them, to be a friend for them at the greatest hour of need. So we have a three-pronged approach, and yes, we do have a pregnancy centre, and we do offer free pregnancy tests, a midwifery, ultrasound and everything that is required for the pregnant mother. But we also have Gianna's home, and I think Barbara will share a little about that. She works there and she is working day to day with the mothers in need, and I think the ministry itself is very, very much needed in this world that we're living in today.
So Barbara, let's go to you then. What's your role within Gianna's home?
So within the home, I'm the home manager. So that means I'm sort of in charge of admin, everyday things like that, as well as working one-on-one with the mums that we're with, being part of intake. Yeah, I guess all the kinds of things that happen in a home anyway, because the way it's set up is that it's a family home and these women come and join our home.
So let's talk about this ministry a little bit more. I can imagine there are some complex factors, some complex reasons that women find themselves needing to come to your home. What are some of those?
I guess the list is endless, isn't it, Colleen? But I mean, poverty definitely comes into it, lack of resources. Women feel that they don't have the material resources to raise a child, so they come to us for that. There's trauma. A lot of these women have suffered a lot in their lives and they just need a helping hand. They need someone beside them at this time. Yeah.
So in such situations, you know, it is a complex thing. And Colleen, I wonder if you can talk to us about the far-reaching effects of some of the issues that are facing mums who are facing these challenging pregnancies. It affects not only them, but wider as well. I wonder if we could talk to that.
Yes, it does. There's always a father involved in a pregnancy, of course, and that can be a very delicate situation that needs special attention and a lot of work and bringing people together. Families are affected in many different ways. It's more generally understood and accepted these days, of course. However, depending on the family's circumstances from which the lady has come from, you have to understand that there are varying needs that need to be attended to. So every single woman that comes our way has their own personal story, of course. And so we have to be in tune to listen to them, to open up our hearts, to give them so much love and acceptance, to understand what their need is and what the far-reaching implications are for them. And quite often we've found that as being immigrants, especially in the last few years with all of the lockdowns and COVID and everything that's come that way, immigrants have been left here for a lot longer than they intended to, for work visas and for other reasons. They often don't have any family here at all. You know, and we've had a number of immigrants. In fact, most of the women that we have helped in Gianna's home over the last 12 months have been immigrants.
Right.
So come from various countries and a League of Nations, really.
Wow.
But there's also those women who find themselves, have had, as Barbara said, so much trauma in their life that we wouldn't want for any of our daughters. You know, broken families, dysfunctional, maybe some psychiatric illness, mental health issues, drug issues, all of those things that can impact on a woman when she finds herself pregnant. And the world is saying, have an abortion. Go and get the abortion pill. Get it popped in the post today, which can happen now, of course. It's legal. And of course, every baby is vulnerable until the baby is actually born now because of the pressures of abortion and the ready availability of abortion pills, etc. But once you meet these women or talk to them on the phone, regardless of their personal state in life, and regardless of what implications there may be for their families, because different cultures, there's different implications.
Of course.
Because it's not accepted in one culture and it's just accepted willy-nilly in another, and go and do your thing. There's a lot to be said for just listening, making an individual plan for each woman, because we don't know. None of us have walked in their shoes. We don't know what has happened in their life. And, you know, some of these women are homeless. There's so much trauma in their life that they have had to escape.
Yeah.
And they get used to living out on the street. They get used to all of the pain and sorrow and suffering, and it becomes a way of life for them. So in a very short time, it's very difficult to share with you what the wider implications are.
Yeah.
I don't see them as practical so much as mental health needs and love. Everyone wants to be loved and accepted, and this is why these girls are in this situation. And let's not forget, there are some dads in that situations too, who have to see their babies destroyed. They love their children. They want to be parents. So there's a whole lot of mix that goes in. There's a whole series of reasons why. But if we listen and if we just love and accept one girl at a time, it's one at a time.
Listening and love, those are such important things, and I think sometimes we don't know how to do that well. I wonder if we could look at the faith implications of some of the choices that are presented to these ladies, you know, the spiritual implications of that you guys see.
Well, in our home we do have prayer. And we do find that there are implications. Most girls and women will join in quite happily.
Yeah.
And then others will sort of walk back, but that's fine. We just carry on, same evening prayer every night. And they know that we go to church and they're welcome to come. And if they don't come, that's all right as well. You know, it's just understanding and but knowing that everything we do is for the greater glory of God. And it's to bring some spirituality into their life where it's missing. But it's caught. It's not always taught. So by the example that we give as Christian women and gentlemen, we have a family living in the home as parents. And Tima, our house dad, is very quiet, Pacifica gentleman. And he's doing counselling training. But he's a wonderful, quiet presence, a very godly man. And so it's very important for the woman to just experience a regular family life with little toddlers, what it's like, and all the happiness, the struggles, the joys that go on in a normal, regular family life. So I think that just that atmosphere of spirituality is there.
So that brings us now to the Pregnancy Support Ministry of Gianna's Choice and Gianna's Home. I wonder if you could tell us the story behind this. What's the story behind the name Gianna?
Gianna was a physician, and in 1961 she gave birth to a beautiful daughter, Gianna. However, when she realised she was having a fourth pregnancy with her husband Pietro Mola, they're Italians, she discovered that she was quite ill and had severe fibroids. And she knew that she was in for a very, very difficult time during her pregnancy. She made it very clear from the very outset that whatever the outcome, you must choose life. You must choose life for my baby. And so rather heroically, she was given 3 choices, and rather heroically, she chose the third choice of not aborting, no hysterectomy, but to have a surgery to remove the fibroids, but at the same time save her baby's life. The surgery was actually very successful, and Gianna was born.
Wow.
Yeah, Gianna was born, yeah. So she is now my friend. She's a personal friend of mine. In fact, I just got a text for her before we came into the studio here, wishing us well and to say that they're praying for us today. So she gave up her life in order that her daughter Gianna may have life.
I mean, that is just such an incredible story of Gianna. Thank you so much for sharing, and to hear that she spoke with you even today, that's pretty amazing. I mean, that sort of idea of self-sacrifice, of giving one's life up for another, it's not even celebrated, I think, enough within society today. Is giving one's life, living your life for someone else, something that's too much to ask of parents, would you say, Barbara?
Oh, not at all. I think that's what we do when we become parents.
Right.
Because our children are smaller, they're more vulnerable. And if they don't have us to support them, who do they have? I think that is what we're called to do.
Yeah.
We're called to give everything to, and in some cases, to give our lives for them.
Yeah. I mean, this is such an incredible story, the story of Gianna's home and Gianna's choice. Colleen, you've actually had vulnerable mums come into your home. You're walking the talk as such.
Yes.
How was that? I mean, it must have taken a toll from time to time.
Well, actually it was a great joy because I think that it strengthened my marriage to my wonderful husband Terry, and he's always welcomed every woman. In fact, one of the babies who came to us is 17 next week.
Wow.
Next Thursday she celebrates her 17th birthday, and she is our child now. And she's been with us right from the get-go, and she has Down syndrome, she's profoundly deaf. She has heart disease, and she's ADHD, and she has about 6 anomalies, but she is just full of the joy of life. And what a wonderful gift. And her young mum had the courage to say yes to life.
Yeah.
She wants so much. And now she doesn't live so far away from us, only 15 minutes. She can come and visit Elizabeth, and vice versa. And so every child, every conceived child in this world is wanted and needed, needs a parent's protection, love and guidance and understanding. And where that's not quite possible, there are a lot of adoptive parents out there who would love to bring up a child with their birth parent. Yeah. There's always a great solution to every complex situation. There is a very good solution, but we must give, and as we give more, it makes us better people.
Yeah, that's so true, so true.
Yeah.
Barbara, let's come back to Gianna's home. Within that service, and it hasn't been around for terribly long, just over a year, you provide a range of different services and programs. Can you tell us about those?
Okay, so we're affiliated with Heartbeat International, who have given us courses that we're able to do to help us support the mothers that work with us. Also a program especially for working with women with trauma, and also relationships, budgeting, and all the practical things that mothers need to learn, baby care. And so we support them with those, and also we're learning from the women as they come through. So different needs arise with each new mother, and so we learn what we need to and support them how we can.
Yeah. I wonder, Barbara, if someone's watching in today, who can call Gianna's home for help? Is it always the mum, or are there other people that call in on behalf of the mother?
Yeah, of course the mother can call, but also any agencies that are working with mothers who are in need, and we've been recently contacted by some outside agencies, and then they can pass on our information to the mother so that she can make contact with us. Family members could contact us. Really anyone who knows of these vulnerable women whose needs we can meet, they can contact us.
Awesome. Colleen, how do you help a mum when she's feeling really low about herself, maybe feeling a bit convicted about the choices that she's made? How do you help her move through that?
I think by primarily just being with her. It's very important to have face-to-face contact and just to make friends. Just to be a friend at her greatest hour of need, and she will read that, she will understand it, and we can navigate what the reasons are that she's feeling this way. How can we help? What is it that's driving you to think that this is the only possible decision you can make? And guide through to, but what if? You know, what if? And when you find these things out and just share and make a plan together and say, but Mary, what if we make a plan together right now that's going to help you to motherhood with your child? You know, you're already a mother actually, but to bring birth to your baby and to look at the longer term picture. And it can very often be something very simple. It could be for a married couple, they're just in such a terrible, terrible situation that they can't afford the horrific rent or mortgage payments. It could well be a fear of the boyfriend. Abandonment is a huge issue for these women. There's a myriad of reasons, and they are very, very vulnerable. So it's just understanding and listening and just being. And there'll be always something. And quite often, I always say, once I get to know mother, I say, well, have you got any Christian background? Have you got any, you know, it's like as a point of reference. Oh, my grandmother was one of those. Oh, yes, I do. I'm really pro-life, but I just can't do this, you know. And so it gives you another springboard of communication as well. And once we really are good friends and we know what's happening and we start making a plan, the whole demeanour changes. There's hope, there's joy, and it could be just simple pledge, a simple pledge to give grocery vouchers and petrol vouchers. And in fact, there's a mum coming in, she only gave birth last Thursday, and she's coming in at 2 o'clock this afternoon to pick up some food vouchers. We would have happily delivered them to her, but she's so excited about coming in.
Oh, that's lovely.
You know, so it just doesn't gel to say, we care, you're pregnant and we'll walk the journey with you. It doesn't cut it.
Okay.
You've got to be there at every possible level, whether it's spiritually, quietly, and gradually bring that out with them. Food vouchers, clothing, the little tiny booties and jackets.
Lovely.
And just to make that connection, but to give hope. To give hope is the most important thing. To listen, to love, and to give hope. And then you can evaluate.
So Colleen, there's been so many examples of women help, but I wonder if you could share the story of one of the young mums who have recently been helped by Gianna's home.
Absolutely. The lady who comes to mind, who really wanted to be here today with us actually, is Giselle, and she's very happy for us to tell her story and to use her name. That is her real name. Giselle came to us a couple of years ago actually, and I would go and visit her regularly. She was an immigrant on a particular visa, and she'd been abandoned by the father of her child, and she only could think that abortion was the only option. How could she do her job? How could she stay in New Zealand? How could he do this to me? I've given him my whole love. I just loved him so much. And I never thought he would abandon me and get another girlfriend and make her pregnant at the same time. And so Giselle is a fighter. She's a very, very good woman, and she spent a lot of time with us. She's lived at Gianna's home, and she has now, through a lot of difficulties, but a lot of growing, she's a real success story actually, because she's gone through all of the process. She's listened to us, she's given us lots of advice, and her son now goes to daycare, and she has got a 3-year workers visa, and it looks so close that she may have to go back to her home country, but she's done so very, very well, and she was so excited. And I think her story in its entirety is one of despair, of fear, of uncertainty, but also determination. When she realised that abortion was not going to be good for her, or certainly for her baby, her whole shift in paradigm was very tangible and able to see, and she was very great. She even came into work for us. We gave her a job in the interim, and she enjoyed that very much, but now she has got her own job in the care industry, which was really her passion, and she's doing exceptionally well.
Amazing.
There are so many stories. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, I mean, in current news, we just had a lovely baby boy born this morning to a mum that we've been working with, and it's been a really long road for her, and it's such a good feeling that, you know, the birth was safe, everything went well, and she now has the opportunity to parent this lovely little boy. And I look forward to her story developing.
Wow.
And to become more like Giselle's as well. You know, there's so much hope for the future of this child and this mother.
It is exciting, isn't it? Yeah. I can imagine, and you've been doing this for 30 years, Colleen, that there's been some incredible challenges on the way. I wonder, you know, thinking about financial and social support and all of those things, has it gotten easier or harder over the last 30 years, would you say?
I think it's probably a lot more difficult in many respects because of the change in law in New Zealand, that all babies are vulnerable right up until the day they're born, abortion vulnerable, the mothers are indeed, and New Zealand people are very, very generous, and when they know the need, they get behind it in a wonderful way, and when they know you're doing what you say you're going to do, they are very, very good indeed. One of the challenges, apart from the medical side of being pro-abortion now, and the government's laws, is staffing. Staffing and volunteers can be a challenge from the perspective of the ethos, the Christian ethos of the giving. Right now we're in grave need of respite caregivers to give the house parents a break and to allow more time to Barbara to get out on the road, and Helen and Claire. Those are the 4 key people working in the home. So the challenges are kind of practical, and from a societal point of view, the denigration in society. You know, every day we wake up to find there's another threat out there really, because the moral guidelines are dropping consistently, you know, everywhere. And so that every traditional institution is absorbing them. So we're sort of like a tiny little flicker of light in the darkness, if you were, in the same way that I guess all sound Christian people are. And I remember on Radio Rima about 44 years ago, Dr. James... I was in my kitchen.
Okay.
And Dr. James Dobson used to have his morning show, and I would listen diligently. I learnt so much. But I will never forget the day that he spoke about, I guess, the breakdown of society and the evil one, if that's all right to use that term, overtaking the whole world. And he said quite clearly, you know, almost every traditional institution has been taken over.
Yeah. Barbara, if I could come to you now, you've only been in the role for a little while, but I'm sure you have a vision for Gianna's home. What are your thoughts for the future?
I guess just more people hearing about us, and those that have that need, that they're able to find their way to us so that we can help them. It would be great to grow our staffing, as Colleen said, and more volunteers coming in and out, because, you know, as I said before, with each new mum, there's new needs that we need to cater for. And even, you know, things like people driving the mums to their appointments and things like that, you know, so that those who are focused in the home don't need to be going out for things like that. Yeah, there's just so much need, and I can see it out there, and I guess that, you know, things are going to get busier, and we just need that support as well.
Thank you so much for the work that you ladies do. It's so important. Gianna's choice, Gianna's home. If our conversation has spoken to you in any way, if you'd like to reach out for help, call 0800 367 5433. Now you can talk to someone for a confidential chat or visit pregnancyoptions.org.nz to learn about how you can help. Thanks, Barbara. Thanks, Colleen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jane.
Thank you so much.